Hi, Sarah. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So you are a newborn and family photographer, and you made a tremendous change in response to the pandemic. Can you tell us a little bit about you, your company, and what you did to respond?
Yes, yes. So for the past 7 years, I started my own business specializing in newborn and family photography. No events, no large groups, strictly even smaller families, just because that's all I can handle. But one of the things that's kind of unique is that I do specialize in natural light photography. And when it comes to newborns specifically, being that most of my clients' families are in the city or in the Jersey suburbs, whatever, I started off and continued by using a client's own home and furniture to create an in-home studio. So I was never lugging heavy equipment. I was never lugging, lighting and bean bags and whatever. I actually experimented. I bought a bean bag one time for about 4 months and I sold it because I just didn't need it. And that was 6 years in. I was like, oh, maybe I'm missing out on something. But the reason I tell you this is it came into play during the transition with the pandemic. Once everything shut down, I really thought I was out of luck, and babies, the most vulnerable, they haven't had any vaccines. How am I going to actually do newborn photos for clients when I can't physically pose their babies?
Right.
And for the kind of work that I specialize in, the babies really have to be within the first 2 weeks of life, give or take a couple days. And the reason for that, there are some photographers that do the lifestyle, the babies aren't as posed, it's just a little bit more natural, but I really do focus on the posed newborn shots, the baby laying like this and laying like this. They don't do that so naturally. It's really a guided thing. So in the first 2 weeks is when the babies sleep so soundly, typically, that you can really mold them, move them, mush them how you need. And that, for that reason, it's not like I could just wait the pandemic out and still offer posed newborn photos. So rather than feeling sorry for myself and feeling sorry for my clients that, oh, it's just too bad, we can't do this, I got creative. And right when the pandemic happened, a friend of mine from Texas reached out. She had a baby boy, about 10 days old at this point, and asked me for tips on posing him and taking photos herself. And I said, any chance you want to experiment and let me try to guide you through it on FaceTime? So that's what we did. And the reason why the point about the equipment comes into play is because I could easily survey her home through a series of pictures exchanged back and forth. I could see where I would set up if I were there in person, and I could walk her through that setup herself. So it didn't need to be stands with lights and bean bags and clips and anything. It was, what would I do if I were there? And what does she already have in her home that she can use the same way I would? And that's how it started. So it was successful. She followed my instructions, and I slowly started experimenting with some other families until I really got a method down. And now I'm almost 70 families in.
Wow.
And it's been awesome.
That's incredible.
Yeah, thanks.
So are you able to do some of the same poses, or does the distance affect the product that you're able to provide?
That's a really good question. The answer is yes and no. So for this, when I go in person, I have so much more variety that I can provide. Actually, when I started doing the virtual sessions, I wasn't even offering parent shots because I just didn't feel confident that I could safely guide one parent to pose the baby on the other parent. I wasn't sure about it. And the poses that I selected to do the baby shot solo are based on safety and the ease at which I can guide them through a video chat method. The most vulnerable part of the newborn baby is the back of the neck, and you can't have the head flopping all around. And so there are some poses like this one where it can be really challenging to get the hands in the right place and get the structure under the head and the neck so that the baby is safely supported. I don't do that pose. Maybe I'll figure out a way that I can incorporate it, but I wanted to start with poses that would offer variety when shot from different angles so that you don't have to move the baby to achieve some sort of difference in your gallery. But yes, it's limited. I can do way funkier stuff when I'm there in person just because I trust myself. I've been doing this for a long time. I recently, though, started expanding into some different parent shots too, because look, you don't know until you try. And there are certain things I'm finding, okay, as long as I'm very clear about this is how you need to hold the baby and the parents are listening. And if the baby is truly sleeping so soundly that I feel the transition will be more seamless, I feel better about it. But I can't take a half awake baby and go into one of the challenging mommy baby poses. Like it has to be the right circumstance.
Well, it sounds pretty amazing. Not only that you were able to adjust, but now it sounds like you could reach people throughout the country that maybe you wouldn't have reached before.
That is the coolest thing about this, Allie. I've done photo shoots with people now in Colorado, California, Chicago, South Carolina, Florida, like up the East Coast, all over the place. I had my first UK client, I think a month and a half ago, and I have a London client tomorrow morning.
Oh, you're international.
I'm international.
That's amazing.
Yes, it's been cool. Yeah, because now I can expand and reach people who are not in the tri-state area. And again, it's not that I can't provide the same variety as if I were there. However, this is really for people who, had their heart set on those newborn photos and, because of the pandemic and lockdown, like they just maybe don't feel comfortable. At this point, we're a little bit getting into the phase where I know some photographers are going back into people's homes and doing it. I personally don't know when I'm going to start going back into people's homes, but even if there's clients that are open to that, there's plenty of clients who aren't. And this way I can reach those people. It's safe. I'm not in your home and I can get you, those few poses, the handful of shots. You get a birth announcement, you get a great post for Instagram, and you have a framer or two, because how many do you really need?
Right. It's true. And so that sounds like that was maybe one of the more positive things that came out of it. What were one of the challenges that you faced?
Really the biggest thing is, obviously I can't charge as much from a business perspective for limited variety. But at least I'm able to still make an income doing this. I mean, there's plenty of people, plenty of businesses who have had to shut down altogether. And the other challenge is I do miss having hands-on. I really miss being able to get more variety. And it's such a muscle memory that I'm watching the parents do it. And oftentimes I just want to jump through the computer and be like, here, let me just gotta hold them like this, touch them like this and shush in their ear. I want to take control so badly, but my families have been awesome. I mean, part of the pre-shoot spiel that they get is about patience and hanging in there. It's me guiding them with my knowledge and expertise. And I've done it hundreds, if not thousands of times over the past 7 years. These people are becoming newborn photographers within an hour. Wow. So the challenge is not having control. And obviously it's a little bit of a setback from a small business perspective, but that has paled in comparison to what we've all been able to get out of it.
Right. I mean, we're all adjusting, and it sounds like you did an exceptional job coming up with a creative way to maintain your business and still give people a service that they normally wouldn't be able to get during this time.
Totally. Yeah.
Do you think you'll continue to offer a virtual session after the pandemic is over?
Yes, I actually about a month ago decided to update my website and just continue this from here on out. Also because I have 2 kids, they're both going to be in school or homeschooled. We'll see what
We hope,
happens.
right?
Fall. And, this is something, if they're in school, I can do multiple virtual sessions a day because I'm not commuting. And if they're home, as they were for the past 3 months, I was able to figure out a way to fit these into both my schedule and their schedule. And obviously it's a challenge, but it worked. So yes, this will be something that no matter what going forward, virtual newborn sessions will be offered.
And it's probably nice for your flexibility of schedule. Now you don't have to travel. It takes
100%. I mean, it's such a double-edged sword because it is so, like I said before, it is so rough not being able to have that control and do more, because these babies have been amazing. They're so cute. They're sleeping so well. I just want to keep going and do more poses, but I want to do it. I love what I do. I love being able to create something that is such a once in a lifetime moment, because, after that 2.5, 3 week mark, it gets very challenging to achieve. But at the same time, being able to do it from the comfort of my own home and not travel, and literally get one kid on a Zoom call, pop into another room, get on the call with the client, and an hour later be done. That's nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's pros and cons to both.
And it seems like this may be the way of the future.
Yeah.
The whole world went virtual and now you're ahead of the game.
Totally. Yes, I agree.
Well, great. Thank you so much. And thank you for making the world a brighter place.
Oh, I so appreciate you saying that. I'm glad to know you think I am. I should also mention that one of the things I think is important with small businesses also is the giving back aspect. And I don't know if you're familiar with during especially the peak of the pandemic, there were groups emerging in different communities called FLAG, the frontline or first line responders groups.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something, it was started, I think, out in the Jersey suburbs, but then different cities started adapting it. It was first line appreciation group. That's what FLAG stands for. And I was donating portion of my proceeds to that group as well, just to help support locally, a ton of the different businesses and first line responders. And I can, going forward, continue to donate portions of my proceeds to different organizations.
That's really incredible.
Yeah.
Especially at a time right now when everybody's struggling a little bit. That's
totally
incredible.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.